All right, so this is the clip where I'm going to share with you where Tantra entered the picture. Since this is from Christian missionary to Tantra teacher, and um, that happened in Hawaii. So I had moved to Hawaii, which I ended up living there 10 years total, 5 in Oahu and 5 in Maui. And I noticed I was getting increasingly more frustrated with having a master's degree and having a lot of skills that I had picked up along the way because I love to learn, having a lot of education under my belt, and yet I'm still living month to month and making an hourly rate that just doesn't really add up to much of being able to really live the life that I wanted. And it was very tight. I remember, making 2,000 a month and living on that was, went on for years. And I was praying about it quite a bit and, calling out to God that, we've got to shift this because I'm getting really frustrated, and I know that I'm here for more than just living month to month, that I'm here for something much bigger, and I'm never going to be able to really break out of this lifestyle unless something happens. So I need to be able to make more money so that I can reach more people and do what I want to do, and not feel so like in survival mode. And I noticed that my curiosity around some things, like I had a friend who was dancing, I guess, at one of the clubs, and I was intrigued by that, and I was thinking that that would be fun and probably really empowering for me as long as the environment was healthy enough, because I really didn't know what to expect. And I was led, this is another example of where I was led spiritually, to move to Maui. And that was another one of those times where I was like, really? I'm going to have to like haul all my stuff over to a different island on a boat, and including my vehicle, and but I was led to do it, so I did it. And by the way, whenever I'm led to do these big steps, they always totally paid off. Otherwise I'd be stuck, doing the same old thing. So I didn't know at the time, but Maui is kind of where Tantra was birthed, in a sense, in America. I know Charles Muir, that's where he was kind of the forerunner of introducing at least sexual Tantra to America in the 70s, I believe. And, that's where it kind of took off in America, is the sexual aspect of Tantra and its benefits. And so, he was holding classes and workshops there. And so it kind of has a tantric vibe to it there, is part of the culture. And, after I arrived in Maui, soon after, I was prospected by a woman who wanted me to work for her. And I kind of actually pushed it away for a while because I wasn't quite sure about working with her. And it wasn't until, it was almost like the universe kind of pushed me into her lap. And then that's when I kind of knew, okay, I think this is meant to happen, and this is how I'm going to learn this business. And I was feeling like that I was getting a yes at that point. Just the way things happened circumstantially, got my attention. I was like, okay. And I had no idea about this. It's almost like an underground world, kind of, like growing up Christian, I had no idea. Oh gosh, guys actually go online and they find a girl and then they call and come in for an appointment. It's like I had totally was unaware that this stuff goes on. And it wasn't the easiest experience, I will say, getting into the business, because I did not, I'll be honest, I did not trust this woman, and that's why I was really hesitating and fighting and resisting going and working with her. Her integrity wasn't in place for me. And yet, I feel like this is what's so interesting about spirituality is that she was kind of the only one on the island that was taking in girls and having them work. So it was kind of the only way for me to get introduced to the business. And I worked for her for one summer. Kind of didn't have a life much in that summer. I worked, it was all about working and kind of paying her off in a sense so that I could go launch myself and not be under her. It was somewhat of an oppressive, kind of like, like Cinderella story, I guess, would be maybe one way to describe it. And yet I'm grateful to her at the same time that, I got introduced to the business, and she didn't really teach me that much, but I just in going through the motions of seeing clients, I kind of learned how the logistics worked in the business. And I, after 2 weeks, I had that down and understood how it worked from the moment, from marketing your ad to taking the call to having them show up and all that. So, and she took half the money, which is a lot. But at the same time, it's hard to really gauge that. It's a little bit relative because it completely changed my life for the better. I've been told by different spiritual people that I've done this work in past lives, and it came really naturally to me in a conscious way. I channeled a lot of what I felt I was being asked to do in a session, and I created my own session based on what the ideas that were coming through me as to how to make this a spiritual experience, a conscious experience, so that there's an imprint on the client around, oh wow, sexuality is actually very healthy and it can be very spiritual and conscious. And so she didn't teach me Tantra, because there was a certain point where I was like, aren't we supposed to be doing Tantra? Because that's what she claimed she did, but I didn't see it or get trained that way. And so I sought after that myself. And even though I already channeled how to do my session, because I love learning, I sought out the different Tantra schools. And, I'm always one who's continuing my education all the time, because I figure the more tools I have in my belt to customize a session to help the client, the better. And so I guess I should back up a little bit too and just say that right before I started working for her, I had what I would call maybe, a few tantrums around, with God around, hey, this is not working for me. I'm sick of living month to month. I'm meant to do more than this, and you better figure it out and make a change and help me, because it's like, if this is all life's going to be, then just take me now. That's how angry I was about it. It's kind of funny when I think about it, but when you pray with a lot of emotion and your heart's really in it, that's when I get the most results. And it's just because it's probably backed by a lot of heartfelt fire, and I had a few just where I was like, okay, universe, I just need to vent. And I would just like, help me figure this out, because I don't want to live like this anymore. I was 37. So I was 37 when I got into this business, which is pretty late, but I look a lot younger than I am. So anyway, and I have natural business sense, so that really helps too, because I picked up on it really fast. I could have launched myself after 2 weeks, but I chose to pay her off really well, so that there would be no question that I paid her very well and had the right to go launch myself. So it ended up adding up to like 13 grand that summer, and then I said, okay, I'm leaving. I'm going to go launch myself. I've paid you enough. And of course she wasn't happy about that, but enough's enough. So anyway, it was kind of like an experience of, it was sort of a Cinderella story, because living month to month, like 2,000 a month, having to like rent a room for 650 and just barely getting by, um, leaping all the way to working a lot less, making a lot more money per hour. Um, it was almost felt like I had kind of reached into, like I was semi-retired. Um, and so that was a huge leap of lifestyle that I am so grateful for and appreciative of, because it was the answer I was looking for. And I'm a natural at it, and I love it, and I love being able to be a really authentic, heartfelt, practitioner in Tantra to help people, in the areas of their sexuality or ability to connect or be able to have intimacy and sustainable relationships. So it was, an amazing financial shift that allowed me the opportunities and the time and the money to really live like I wanted to. So that's that phase. And now I'm going to go into what's happened in my career from the beginning forward, because it's been 8 years now.